Welcome to my channel, Sparkles. Here we share the history, beauty, and value of the United States of America $quarter coins. Every coin has a story, every detail carries history, and every collector knows the thrill of discovering something rare and unique. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps this channel grow and brings you more amazing coin content. Gemstone, thank you so much for watching, my coin-loving friends. Stay curious, keep collecting, and remember, sometimes the smallest coin can hold the greatest treasure. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, and join our journey through the world of beautiful coins. See you in the next video, and as always, happy collecting. Sparkles. Do you want me to make this into a 1,000-word detailed outro script, like a storytelling style, or just keep it short and catchy for your YouTube videos? Here's a long, continuous paragraph narration about the 1965 United States quarter dollar, designed to last about 10 minutes when read aloud, covering its history, design, technical details, cultural significance, and collector value. The 1965 United States quarter dollar is a landmark coin in American history because it marked the very first year that the U.S. Mint produced quarters without any silver content, a dramatic shift in American coinage that reflected changing economics, rising silver prices, and the nation's evolving monetary system. On the obverse of the coin, we see the enduring profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, designed by sculptor John Flanagan and first introduced in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of Washington's birth. Washington's bust faces left, with the inscription Liberty boldly above his head, the motto In God We Trust placed to the left near his neck, and the date 1965 at the bottom, signifying the first year of the new clad composition. Unlike earlier quarters, there is no mint mark on the 1965 issue, since all coins that year were struck at the Philadelphia Mint to simplify production during the nationwide coin shortage. On the reverse, also designed by John Flanagan, appears the powerful image of a heraldic bald eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows that symbolize military readiness, while an olive branch of peace rests beneath, symbolizing the nation's desire for peace through strength. Surrounding the eagle is the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, which reflects the unity of the states, along with the inscriptions United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom, clearly denoting its denomination. The 1965 quarter was the first to be struck in the new copper, nickel-clad composition, consisting of an inner core of pure copper bonded to outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, creating the silvery appearance of earlier coins while removing silver entirely. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with 119 tiny grooves, which originally helped discourage counterfeiting and clipping of precious metal. The reason for this major change was the dramatic rise in the price of silver in the early 1960s, which made silver coins increasingly expensive to produce and led to widespread hoarding of quarters, dimes, and half dollars. By 1964, many Americans were pulling silver coins from circulation, creating a shortage of small change. To solve this, the U.S. Mint and Congress approved the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from quarters and dimes, reduced the silver content of half dollars, and authorized the production of the new copper, nickel-clad coinage. This makes the 1965 quarter especially historic, as it was the first non-silver quarter issued in the United States since the denomination was introduced in 1796. Collectors often view it as the beginning of the modern era of American coinage. The Mint produced an enormous quantity of these new quarters, more than 1.8 billion coins in 1965 alone, to meet public demand and to reassure citizens that quarters would remain plentiful despite the disappearance of silver. Because of this massive mintage, the 1965 quarter is common today, and circulated examples are generally worth only face value. However, uncirculated coins with strong mint luster or those preserved in government-issued special mint sets, SMS, from 1965 can command collector premiums, often ranging from $5 to $20 depending on quality. Some of the 1965 SMS quarters exhibit a special cameo or deep cameo finish, with frosted devices and mirror-like fields, which are highly sought after and can be worth significantly more, sometimes hundreds of dollars in top grades certified by professional grading services. The 1965 quarter is also famous among collectors for its transitional error coins, rare mistakes in which some quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets intended for 1964. These 1965 silver quarters, when authenticated, are extremely valuable, with examples selling for thousands of dollars depending on condition. This makes the 1965 quarter a fascinating issue, as it not only introduced the new clad series but also produced one of the most desirable era varieties in U.S. coinage. In everyday life, the coin quickly became familiar to Americans, symbolizing change both literally and figuratively. While silver quarters represented the classic era of U.S. coinage, the 1965 clad quarter reflected modern practicality, durability, and economic adaptation. Its design, with Washington on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse, continued unchanged until 1998, when the 50-state quarters program began, making the 1965 issue part of the longest-running design period for the quarter dollar. From a symbolic perspective, the 1965 Washington quarter carries all the familiar national mottos and imagery that connect American coinage to its values: liberty, to reflect freedom; in God we trust, to express faith; and e pluribus unum, to emphasize unity among the states. These inscriptions, combined with the portrait of Washington and the heraldic eagle, make the coin a small yet powerful reminder of American identity. Though produced in huge numbers and common in circulation, it is still an important historical marker for both collectors and everyday citizens. In conclusion, the 1965 United States quarter dollar is much more than just 25 cents in change. It represents the turning point in American coinage when silver was removed, new clad coinage was introduced, and the nation adapted to changing economic realities. With over $1 billion struck, it is readily available and affordable, but high-grade examples, special mint set versions, and rare transitional silver errors give it depth and value for collectors. Its combination of Washington's portrait, patriotic symbols, and historic context make it a vital part of U.S. numismatic history, a coin that tells the story of change, resilience, and national identity in the palm of your hand. Backhand index pointing right. Would you like me to also create a YouTube-friendly script version of this, with a catchy intro, storytelling pace, and a strong outro for likes and subscriptions, so it fits your channel format? Here's a long, detailed narration about the 1983 United States quarter dollar, written as one continuous paragraph so it can last about 10 minutes when read aloud. The 1983 United States quarter dollar is a fascinating coin in American numismatics because, while it might look like a common piece of circulating change, it carries with it a rich story about the economic conditions of the early 1980s, the enduring symbolism of American coinage, and the challenges faced by collectors of modern quarters. On the obverse, we see the famous left-facing portrait of George Washington, first introduced in 1932 by sculptor John Flanagan to commemorate Washington's 200th birthday, and which became the standard design for the quarter for decades. Above Washington's head is the bold inscription Liberty, a reminder of the nation's founding principle, while the motto In God We Trust appears to the left of his neck in smaller letters. Beneath the portrait lies the date 1983, indicating the year of minting, and on most examples a small mint mark appears to the right of Washington's ponytail, either a P for Philadelphia or a D for Denver, though San Francisco also produced proof coins for collectors that year with an S mint mark. On the reverse, the design presents the bold heraldic bald eagle, the national bird of the United States, perched on a bundle of arrows to symbolize defense and military readiness, while beneath the eagle rests an olive branch of peace, conveying the balance of strength and diplomacy. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom, clearly stating the coin's identity and denomination, while just above the eagle's head is the traditional motto E pluribus unum, which translates as out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the states under one nation. From a technical standpoint, the 1983 quarter continues the copper, nickel-clad composition that had been standard since 1965, consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This clad construction gives the coin its silver-colored appearance while eliminating the intrinsic silver value that quarters once carried. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, with a reeded edge that helps prevent counterfeiting and wear. The year 1983 is particularly interesting because the U.S. Mint produced a very large number of these coins to meet circulation demand, with the Philadelphia Mint striking more than 673 million quarters and the Denver Mint striking over 617 million, making them abundant in commerce at the time. However, despite these massive mintages, the 1983 quarter is considered much scarcer in high-grade uncirculated condition compared to other dates. This is because, during the early 1980s, the Mint did not release official uncirculated sets in 1982 or 1983 due to budget cuts and low collector demand, meaning that collectors today cannot find pristine mint state examples from government-issued sets as they can for most other years. Instead, Any surviving high-grade 1983 quarters had to be pulled directly from circulation rolls or bags, making them harder to locate in well-preserved condition. As a result, uncirculated examples and particularly high-grade specimens graded MS-65 or higher by professional services such as PCGS or NGC are relatively scarce and command strong premiums on the collector market. The collector value of 1983 quarters therefore varies widely. Circulated examples are still common today and generally worth only face value, but gem uncirculated examples can bring $25, $50, or more, and truly exceptional pieces with brilliant luster and sharp strike can exceed $100 at auction. Proof versions from San Francisco, struck in limited numbers for collector sets, also hold value depending on condition, especially those with deep cameo contrast. Error coins from 1983 are also of great interest to numismatists, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double dies, and striking anomalies. Since minting technology was improving during this era but still imperfect compared to today, such error coins can be found and are worth far more than face value, sometimes hundreds of dollars depending on rarity and visibility of the error. Beyond its physical details and market value, the symbolism of the 1983 quarter connects deeply with American ideals. The word liberty reflects the foundation of the nation, while "In God We Trust" reminds citizens of faith as a national motto. The eagle holding arrows and an olive branch visually balances strength with peace, representing the United States as a nation that is prepared to defend itself but also committed to diplomacy and harmony. The motto, E pluribus unum, underscores the unity of the nation's many states, ethnicities, and backgrounds into one people under one government. For ordinary Americans in 1983, this coin was not just a symbol but also a tool of everyday life, used in vending machines, payphones, bus fares, laundromats, and small purchases, making it an essential piece of daily commerce. The fact that it was so heavily circulated also explains why fewer pristine examples remain today, adding to its numismatic intrigue. In conclusion, the 1983 United States quarter dollar stands out as a coin that appears ordinary but carries extraordinary significance for collectors. Its high mintages and role in everyday transactions mean that billions were produced and widely used, but the absence of government-issued mint sets in that year has left a surprising scarcity of well-preserved uncirculated examples. This has transformed the 1983 quarter from a once-overlooked piece of pocket change into a sought-after collectible for those who appreciate the challenges of finding true gem-quality modern coins. Whether examined for its design, its symbolism, its minting history, or its place in the Here's a long, detailed narration about the 1998 United States quarter dollar, written in one continuous paragraph so it can last around 10 minutes when read aloud. The 1998 United States quarter dollar is one of the last issues of the classic Washington quarter design before the U.S. Mint introduced the famous 50-state quarters program in 1999, which would forever change the way Americans viewed and collected their pocket change. On the obverse, the coin features the traditional portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth, and used continuously for decades with only minor modifications. Washington is shown facing left, with the bold word "Liberty" arched above his head, the motto "In God We Trust" placed to the left of his profile, and the date 1998 positioned at the bottom. To the right of Washington's ponytail, just above the rim, is a mint mark indicating the mint of origin, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, where proof coins were struck for collectors. On the reverse, we see the powerful heraldic bald eagle with its wings outstretched, perched upon a bundle of arrows that symbolize military readiness, with an olive branch resting below to represent peace, a design that perfectly balances strength with diplomacy. Above the eagle's head is the traditional motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, while the outer inscriptions, United States of America, and quarter dollar, clearly identify the nation of issue and denomination. The technical details of the 1998 quarter are consistent with a copper, nickel-clad composition adopted after 1965, with an inner core of pure copper bonded to outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin its silver-like color. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, with a reeded edge consisting of 119 grooves to help deter counterfeiting and discourage the shaving of metal. The U.S. Mint struck enormous numbers of 1,998 quarters to meet circulation demand. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 896 million pieces, the Denver Mint struck more than 821 million, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins in smaller quantities for collectors. both in traditional clad and in 90% silver versions sold in special proof sets. These massive mintages mean that circulated examples are extremely common today and still readily found in everyday pocket change. However, the 1998 quarter carries special numismatic interest because it was the very last regular Washington quarter before the state quarter program launched, which makes it something of a symbolic end to an era in American coinage. From a collector's perspective, circulated 1998 quarters generally hold only face value due to their high production numbers, but uncirculated examples in gem condition are more desirable. Quarters graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services can bring premiums of several dollars, and exceptionally well-preserved coins with sharp strikes and full luster may fetch even more. The 1998 S-proof coins are especially prized, with the clad version valued modestly but the silver proofs commanding higher prices, particularly in deep cameo condition where frosted designs contrast beautifully with mirror-like fields. Error coins from 1998 are also of interest, including off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets, which can carry significant premiums depending on severity and rarity. In terms of historical context, the 1998 quarter represents the culmination of over 6 decades of the Washington quarter's original design before the Mint launched the 50-state quarters program in 1999, a program that revitalized interest in coin collecting and introduced millions of new hobbyists to numismatics. In this sense, the 1998 issue stands at a crossroads between the old and the new, closing the chapter on the long-running eagle reverse while ushering in an era of innovation and variety in U.S. coinage. For many Americans who were children or young adults in the late 1990s, the 1998 quarter was one of the last ordinary quarters they spent before the sudden excitement of collecting state designs began. The symbolism of the 1998 quarter is timeless. Washington's portrait reminds the nation of its first president and the ideals of leadership, independence, and unity, while the word liberty represents the guiding principle of the United States. The motto "In God We Trust" reinforces national faith, while E pluribus unum underscores the unity of many states into one republic. The eagle, long a national emblem, represents strength, vigilance, and freedom, balanced with the olive branch to remind Americans of the enduring pursuit of peace. For people using the 1998 quarter in everyday commerce, whether to buy a newspaper, pay a parking meter, or make a phone call, it was a piece of daily life, but for collectors today, it is a coin that bridges history, design, and cultural meaning. In conclusion, the 1998 United States quarter dollar is much more than a common piece of change. It is the final standard issue of the classic Washington quarter series before one of the most ambitious coin programs in U.S. history began, making it historically important despite its vast circulation. While most examples remain common and worth only face value, uncirculated coins, proof strikes, and error varieties offer special value for collectors. Its design, with Washington's iconic portrait and the heraldic eagle reverse, embodies America's heritage and ideals, while its place in the timeline of U.S. coinage marks it as a transition piece between tradition and innovation. The 1998 quarter, therefore, stands as both an everyday coin of its. Here's a long, detailed narration about the 1977 United States quarter dollar, written as one continuous paragraph so it lasts about 10 minutes when read aloud. The 1977 United States quarter dollar is a fascinating piece of American coinage history because it belongs to the classic Washington quarter series that had been in circulation since 1932, and though it may appear like an ordinary coin used in daily commerce, it carries important historical, technical, and cultural details that make it worth studying. On the obverse, the coin features the familiar left-facing bust of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan and chosen in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. The portrait remained virtually unchanged for decades, and in 1977 it still stood as a proud representation of America's first president and founding father. The word "liberty" is inscribed boldly above Washington's head, while the motto "In God We Trust" appears in smaller letters to the left of his neck. At the bottom, the date 1977 is prominently placed, indicating the year of minting. To the right of Washington's ponytail, just above the rim, collectors may find a mint mark, a P for Philadelphia, which in 1977 marked only the second year the Philadelphia Mint placed its mint mark on quarters, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, which struck proof coins exclusively for collectors. On the reverse, the coin showcases the bold heraldic bald eagle, wings spread in majesty, perched upon a bundle of arrows that symbolize military preparedness and defense, with an olive branch beneath to represent peace. Encircling the reverse are the inscriptions "United States of America" at the top and "quarter dollar" at the bottom, with the motto "E pluribus unum" Latin for, out of many, one, appearing just above the eagle's head, a reminder of the unity of the many states under one nation. Technically, the 1977 quarter was struck in the copper nickel-clad composition that had been standard since 1965, consisting of a pure copper core bonded to outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gave it the silvery look of older coins but without the intrinsic silver value. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, with a reeded edge containing 119 grooves. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 256 million quarters, while the Denver Mint struck around 256 million as well, making 1977 one of the years of very high mintages. Additionally, the San Francisco Mint produced proof quarters in both clad and 40% silver versions for inclusion in special collector proof sets. Because of these large mintages, circulated 1977 quarters are still very common today and generally carry only face value in worn condition. However, higher-grade uncirculated examples are much scarcer, especially those certified MS-65 or above, and these can command prices in the range of $20 to $50 or more depending on quality. Proof coins, particularly the silver proofs from San Francisco, are more valuable, especially in deep cameo condition with strong frosted devices and mirror-like fields. The collector appeal of the 1977 quarter also lies in its varieties and minting history. While there are no famous double dies or major varieties from this year, error coins do exist and can be valuable. These include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and striking anomalies, all of which attract collectors who specialize in mint errors. Another interesting fact is that the Philadelphia Mint had only begun using the P mint mark on quarters starting in 1977, making these coins historically important as the first circulating Philadelphia minted quarters ever to bear the mark. Before this, coins from Philadelphia carried no mint mark at all, so the presence of the P adds a distinctive detail to 1977 issues from that mint. From a symbolic perspective, the 1977 quarter represents continuity in American coinage. Washington's portrait, along with the word liberty and the national motto, "In God We Trust," remind citizens of the nation's founding ideals. On the reverse, the eagle conveys strength, power, and vigilance, while the olive branch symbolizes America's hope for peace despite its readiness for conflict. The phrase, e pluribus unum, reinforces the enduring unity of the country. For ordinary Americans in the 1970s, the quarter was one of the most frequently used denominations in circulation, essential for vending machines, parking meters, laundromats, payphones, and small purchases. By the mid-1970s, inflation was rising, making coins even more essential in everyday transactions, and the quarter played a major role in daily life. In conclusion, the 1977 United States quarter dollar may be common in circulation, but it is rich in historical and cultural meaning. It stands as part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, struck in large numbers but holding special importance as the first year to feature the P mint mark for Philadelphia minted coins. While circulated examples are generally worth only 25 cents, uncirculated coins, proof strikes, and mint errors carry added value and collector interest. More importantly, the design connects deeply to American ideals, with Washington representing leadership, the eagle symbolizing power and peace, and the mottos reflecting faith, liberty, and unity. The 1977 quarter, therefore, is more than just a piece of everyday change. It is a snapshot of American history, artistry, and values, carried in the pockets of millions of Americans and now studied and collected by those who appreciate the stories that coins tell. Backhand index pointing right. Would you like me to also prepare a YouTube script version of this with a catchy opening like, "This 1977 quarter might look ordinary,